All right, what's up, everyone? Gonna give it a few minutes. Maybe start around like 8:02, um, 8:05 maybe. Just gonna right now. We got 45 members in here. All right. Just gonna start recording these review sessions, these calls, these mindset calls, just so can have it in the chat, can have it on YouTube and things like that. But yeah, just gonna give it like another minute. See if anybody joins. If nobody joins, then it's just me talking about these different things. So we can go ahead and get started in a second. Yeah, so basically, like, my reasoning for doing this is just to be able to I'm trying to think of like ways I can start building somewhat of a roadmap, whereas, okay, like, we start off with why do you want to trade, and then we move on to different things as to building a trading plan, or even what is trading, building a trading plan, um, getting to the point where you know what a pip is, you know what a point is, you know what a tick is, um, different assets, forex, futures, commodities, um, stocks, stock options, crypto, and then figuring out what market you want to trade in, what is your goal, and what market can help you best achieve that goal, um, regardless of market conditions. I think that's the hardest thing, because I think that when we start trading, because we obviously want to make money, but we want to make money, and we start trading and we're like, okay, like, I just want to make a bunch of money, and you realize that it's harder than it looks. You realize it's harder than it looks, or than it seems, like, to be consistently profitable. Yeah, you can, as a beginner trader, you can win two, three trades in a row and feel like you're on the top of the world, and you're going to be the next Warren Buffett, or you can work at a hedge fund or something like that. But you quickly realize that it's more to trading than just making money. It's more to trading than just pressing a button, and it's more to trading than even just technical analysis. So I think that once we get to that point as individuals, a lot of people fall off. They decide that it's not for them. But then the people that stay, we can get caught in the loop of just trying to be profitable instead of being profitable, having a profitable mindset, having profitable habits, and ultimately having a profitable outlook on why you're trading, versus just trading into oblivion. Like, you just want to trade just to trade. So let's just start this off. So, like, what is your why? In my opinion, this is a question that I even had to ask myself today. Like, what is my why in trading? Am I trading just because I started trading, in 2021? Or am I trading because it makes sense for me to trade and it's something that I should do? And the knowledge that I've learned from trading is something that I can help to use. It's something that I can use to help me get to where I want to later on down the line in life. Um, it's not, it shouldn't, at least for me, like, I've had the issue of trading into oblivion, just trading to trade, trading just because it's an activity that I do, which isn't the right thing to do, in my opinion. Everybody has their own thought process on that, but that's mine. So let's start off. I have just these possible ideas as to why you started trading here. One, like, financial independence. So, meaning, in terms of, like, you have control over your financial future when it comes to trading. You have, if you want to gain financial independence for yourself, trading might be one of the best avenues for you to go down, because you don't rely on anybody else but yourself when it comes to trading. Um, you don't rely on your boss, you don't rely on your employer, and you don't really rely on the economy when it comes to day trading. Now, if you're taking positions and holding them and buying shares, then yeah, that's part of that's where the economy comes into play. But if you're day trading, you can make money when the market goes up or when it goes down. Um, you don't have to have any part. You don't need any partnerships to trade. You can't have any partnerships to trade unless you build some sort of agreement with somebody where you guys don't press the buy or sell button unless both of you agree on the trade idea, which is not something I recommend. But yeah, financial independence is like the first I would say might be the first inspiration to trade. You want to be able to pay for things on your own. You want to be able to make money on your own, and you want to be a profitable individual without relying on external factors. And then two, there's wealth building. So with wealth building, this brings more like the generational wealth and family wealth into it, or being able to help your family out, where you can use trading to use the money that you currently do have to make more money to do whatever you want with it concerning building your wealth, whether that's to use it to invest into real estate, use that to pay for your college, use that to build a fund for one of your younger siblings or your child. If you have anybody that's watching this has children, or to be able to just use that money to then also buy shares in the market, to buy shares in the market or in the stock market, which is also using trading to fund other investing activities that you may have, or you may want to partake in. So I would say like wealth building is one that many people do speak about, but like from my perspective, it's not necessarily. It's hard to build a plan around wealth building with trading because you never know how you're going to perform. You can only know how much you're willing to lose. So I wouldn't say day trading is the way to look at. I wouldn't say wealth building shouldn't be the sole reason for you to day trade. If that's what you want to do, if you want to build wealth, and that's your main goal, don't look at trading to fulfill that solely. Don't look at trading to satisfy that solely. Third is passive income. I have that in quotation marks because I really don't believe there's anything as passive income. That term gets thrown around a lot, especially since maybe like the pandemic or like 2020, since like 2019, the whole passive income wave just, came over everybody, over like, my demographic, the people born after the 2000s, 2002 and up. And then even, like the older generations, as, they start hearing that, they hear passive as if they don't have to work. Where, yes, if you look at trading, it is more of a passive income. The income is passive after you press the buy or sell button. But it can be also passive outcome or passive, not income, it's passive outflow, where you could press the buy or sell button and lose money. But at the same time, for you to be able to press the buy or sell button and all the money you potentially make after that, is not luck, and it's not you just not having to work. For one, unless you just don't do analysis, you have to do analysis before you press the buy or sell button. You have to know what you're looking to see happen in the market before you press the buy or sell button. For one, that's not passive. That's very active. Two, once you press this buy or sell button, it's work to manage your emotions. That's like clocking into a 9-to-5 job. Managing your emotions and managing your mindset and your expectations, and then also your decisions while you're in the trade, is not a passive activity. It's an active activity. So therefore, I don't really believe trading is passive income. I really don't believe in passive income in general, but I believe especially that with trading, all the work that you do leading up to you making that money is active work that you're not getting paid for. You don't even know if you're guaranteed to get paid for it. Working a job, you know you're going to get paid. Trading, you don't know if you're going to get paid. You know that at a job, if you put this amount of many hours in, you're going to get this much money. With trading, you don't know that. So you could put in all that work and then lose money. Or you could put in all that work and make money. But people only talk about passive income when they make money. They don't want to talk about it when they lose money. So I really don't think that. I think that if you are shooting for passive income, the only passive income you can get is in an investment where you're earning interest on it, and that's your passive income just for investing in the asset of whatever that stocks, not, stocks in the form of dividends, bonds, um, uh, and things like that. So I think that passive income is not a valid reason to want to trade. But then again, that's just my opinion. I'm only one person. Fourth, we have an alternative income source. So this idea in my head is just that, okay, if you're working a job, you work for maybe, if you work a full time job, you're working 8 hours a day, right? 9 to 5. But if you, but you have 16 other hours left in the day, and 8 of those hours you sleep. Say somebody sleeps 8 hours a day. That's another 8 hours. You have 8 hours left to do whatever you can to be able to make money, or you can use the other, that those remaining 8 hours to, just relax, watch Netflix, chill, talk to people, whatever, do what you want to do. But with trading being a potential alternative income source where you don't have to clock in to go make money, you can center your trading around that 8 hours that you have to be able to trade at the beginning, end, middle, or through all of a session, to be able to make extra income that may offset some of the expenses that you have of just living regular life, or even just add to the income that you're already getting from your job. So, like current, for me, just being transparent, for me right now, I work at the bank. I work at the bank, and when they allow me to work, like trade and stuff while I'm at work, but even like being able to trade while I'm at work, I'm potentially getting paid twice. Whereas I'm getting paid per hour to be at that bank and spend my time there and work and do what I'm supposed to do. But also, I'm also doing an activity on my phone that is virtual that I can potentially earn income from while at my job. Whereas other people, they may work like a night shift. So if you work from say like 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., you can you can work from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., trade from 9:30 a.m. to 12 p.m., sleep from 12:30 p.m. after you've reviewed your trades and journaled and whatever, and then you say you eat something and then you go back to sleep and then you go back to work at 10. Like, you have more than enough time to be able to learn a skill and be able to maximize your earning potential off of that skill within that 4 hours of time. And then you have a whole nother, set of hours. You have 8 more hours for you to just sleep before you go back to work and do it all over again. My freshman year of college, I was working at a like alcohol distribution warehouse, where I was able to at work, like before I would go into work, we would go into work. I believe it was 5 p.m. So we would go to work at 5 p.m. We would start work at 5 p.m. We'd get a break at like 10 p.m. And what I would do is I would chart up GJ, GU, EJ. These are all, currency pairs. I would chart up all of these pairs to then be able to possibly just enter the position off of my phone while I was at work. Um, while I was at work, and be able to enter the position and possibly see what I could get done. That was probably one of my favorite summers. Whereas we would get off at around like 2 a.m. or around like 1:45, 2 a.m. London session starts at 2 a.m. It goes from 2 a.m. to 11 a.m. What I would do, me and my best friend Ryan, shout out to Ryan, we would, I would chart up, London session at 10 p.m., possibly get in a trade throughout London session. If I don't get in any trades, that's fine. But then after work, I would then go home, eat, eat some food, like eat whatever my parents made for me to eat. And then I would trade from 3 a.m. to, let's say, like 3 a.m. to around like 11 or 12, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. And then I would just go to sleep at 12 p.m. and then wake up at 4 p.m., get ready for work, and do it all over again. And I was just working constantly. Whereas the only time I wasn't working is when I was sleeping. So that's like the alternative income source idea of trading, where if you have a job, if you work in a full time job, if you're able to work remotely, you can trade while you're working. As long as you do the analysis like before you work and stuff like that. Your decision making has to be sharp because you might be multitasking, but it's possible. Anybody can do it, and the goal isn't for you to just be trading alternatively forever. I mean, some people want to do that, and that's great. That's fine, but the goal, at least for me, is to be able to eventually transition from working 20 hours a week to then working 15, then 10 hours a week, and then that 4 hours of me that 2.5 or 3 hours of me trading, I'm making enough that outweighs what I would be making at that job on a monthly basis. Um, so yeah, and then freedom and flexibility. So with this, a lot of people, or this reason for trading is more based off of time and location freedom, whereas you don't have to clock in, you don't have to report to a boss, and you don't have to show up anywhere in order to trade. Really, all you need is like the whole like being your sweatpants and your tank top and you're in bed trading. A lot of people do that now. Do I think that's the way to go about it? Not in the long term, but it can be done. Um, but with the freedom and flexibility of trading, as that is maybe your reason why to trade, that can be a great reason, as you don't have to show up anywhere and you don't have to be anywhere specifically, and you don't have to be anywhere for a certain amount of time in order to be able to make money to trade. All you need to do is have the skill set, have the correct mindset, and have the correct expectations of yourself and the correct plan to be able to perform the way you want to, which is in a profitable way. Um, Challenge and, well, let me stay on freedom and flexibility for just a second. So like I was saying earlier, I do think that when you trade, it's not beneficial to just be in some loungewear where like you're under your covers still and you just woke up and you haven't had any water, you haven't exercised, or you haven't eaten anything yet. Like, I don't think being in a physically deprived state or in a physically unaware state is the way, that the form of yourself that you want to present to the market and be making decisions, financial decisions off of. Now we have to remember that banks, um, trading institutions, hedge funds, they look at the same markets that you and I are looking at, and they are in their office trading. They woke up and had a morning routine before they got on the charts. So it'll be beneficial for us if we want to have a fighting chance at catching those same moves and not getting caught up in all the fluff, to do the same thing, to get up, have a routine for yourself, and this and that. Just because you have freedom doesn't mean you become a degenerate. All it means is that you have the freedom to make your own choices. But you have to have the power. You have to take the power upon yourself to be able to make the correct choices for yourself, and you got to respect yourself just like you would respect your boss at a 9 to 5. Let's move on. So, challenge and personal growth, where I think this is a big one for me. So, for people that love challenges or people that are very competitive, trading is like the ultimate battle because it's you versus you. You're always pursuing the better outcome than what you currently had. And so I would say trading kind of weeds, after a certain amount of time, it weeds out the people that really want to improve themselves and forever want to improve themselves versus the people that just want to arrive at a destination. Whereas if you just want to arrive at a destination, if you want to learn how to drive a car, once you learn how to drive a car on a road in a legal way, you don't really need to improve any more than you have to. Just as long as the rules don't change, just as long as the laws don't change around driving. Once you reach that destination, you don't need to keep on challenging yourself to see if you can get better. Now, with an activity like trading, you are never going to reach that point where you never have to change and you never have to adapt and you never have to see what you could have done better. And that is something that is very hard for most of us to do. It's very hard for me to just consistently do, where I've thought about sometimes, is this really for me? Because you're always going to feel inadequate to a certain degree because there's always something that you could have done better. Um, I think that with, personal growth, trading, if you started, like I started trading at 17, uh, at 18, actually, my bad, at 18, right when I turned 18, like I started trading. Um, when I started trading, I wasn't thinking about all the personal development and the personal growth that was going to be induced from the activity of trading. Now, looking back on it, many of the thoughts and perspectives that I have are from the losses that I've taken in trading and are from the lessons that I learned from those losses in trading that I can apply to different areas of life. Things like having, no expectation, but only focusing on the process. Don't feel entitled to anything, even when you do things the right way. Things like that I learned just from not focusing on the money, trying to focus on the money, but that then turned me into somebody that was chasing the money. Then you have to take a step back from that and you have to learn that, it's not about just the money. It's about the decision that you make and the processes and the systems that you have. Um, but yeah, I would say, if like many times me and, like I said, my boy Ryan and even my boy Renard, we talk about trading and we say like we don't even know the types of people we would be if it wasn't for trading. Before trading, I was very immature. I mean, I still am immature to some people, but I think that with trading, it definitely sped up my mental development and my emotional development and my emotional control and self control. Um, for me to be able to stay within myself, for me to not get too erratic or too high or too low in the markets, because that's still a challenge for me. Um, but yeah, challenge and personal growth. So now, like next, in entrepreneurial spirit. If this is your why, I would say trading is a good way to develop your entrepreneurial spirit, more your entrepreneurial mindset in the sense of very related to the challenge and personal growth. Whereas you can adopt you can transfer many of the lessons that you learn from trading into entrepreneurship and into life in general. Um, I think that having an entrepreneurial spirit, you want to make money from the decisions that you make, not the decisions or not the actions that you are forced to do in the frame of a job that you are in, which I think is very honorable. But many times people glamorize entrepreneurship in the sense of, oh, I'm just an entrepreneur, this and that. I don't want to work a 9 to 5. Or even like you'll hear like girls say like, oh, I don't want a boyfriend that works a 9 to 5. It's like, yes, that sounds cool, but if you're an entrepreneur, you're working probably more than the person that has a 9 to 5. Somebody that has a 9 to 5, they have defined expectations. Their pay is somewhat set for them, either whether it's hourly or salary, and their life can be built around those numbers and those calculations of how much they make per week, per bi-weekly, and per month. Um, Whereas with entrepreneurship, you don't know where those funds are going to come from many of the time until you have a system in place. But when you're just starting out, you're going to be working extremely hard, and the leverage that you have is going to be so small compared to somebody that does have a job and then wants to transition into entrepreneurship. So, um, yeah, I think having an entrepreneurial spirit is great. I think that trading can be a great way to foster that. But I do think also at the same time you should learn to, learn things like a little bit of accounting, a little bit of finance, a little bit of economics to be able to possibly run a business, an actual business where you deal with maybe inventory, overhead. You got to manage people because trading at the end of the day, like the first reason why I had up on that list is like you don't have to depend on anybody. It's no business transaction being done between you and somebody else in front of you, and you're not selling anything to anybody. It's all internal. Whereas doing business as an entrepreneur many times is sales. It's in the form of sales in one way or another, whether that's marketing, whether that's cold calling, whether that's door to door sales, whether that's networking. Like you gotta rely on other people, and you gotta rely on your skills, your networking and communication skills with other people to be able to get what you want done as an entrepreneur. And so then investment diversification. I would say investment diversification is a good reason to trade, but is not the only reason that you should trade. Now, if it's the only reason that you want to trade, fine, but there's other ways that you could probably diversify your investments besides day trading because day trading does take a lot of attention, and it takes a lot of focus. Whereas if you put that same 2 3 hours into figuring out another, maybe slower way of investing or slower gaining method of investing, you might have a better outcome from that. So people that invest in stocks, bonds, um, people that invest in real estate, people that invest in cryptocurrency, all these people say you have $100,000 and you invest 20,000 across those four markets. That's $80,000, and you have an extra 20,000. Excuse me, I'm yawning. It's been a long day. If you have an extra 20,000, that last 20,000, and you want to day trade it, yes, that's great. You can use like low risk 0.5% to 1%, and make 5% a month on your account, which will then be anywhere between like it's 5% of 20%, which is like maybe that's like I don't even know like the weighted average of that. Maybe that's like a 4% um uh increase, or a 2% increase of your overall investment portfolio, 2 to 4% increase on of your overall investment portfolio, um, as an individual, uh, looking to make money or build wealth. Um, so yeah, I think investment diversification is a good reason. Now I don't think it should be the only reason that you trade, because a lot of times with other investments, you don't have to do as much critical thinking. You can put money in the S&P, you could put money in the Dow Jones, you could put money in the in Nasdaq, in those types of securities, uh, and then like your money's pretty much going to grow. Like you're going to make your money within the next 10, 20, 30 years. You're going to make money. Whereas with trading, you could put that last 20,000 out of the 100,000 and lose it all, due to maybe a lack of technical knowledge or skill, or a lack of mental capacity to be able to understand what is going on and be able to manage your emotions well. Um, but yeah, and then hobby and passion. Now, I think that these are great reasons in the beginning, but once you learn the right way to trade, these cannot be the reasons that you trade, that you get into trades, specifically. Now, it could be a hobby in the form of when you start out, you like looking at the candle charts. It's a productive hobby. Like, you're looking at it, you're trying to understand the market, you're building a little bit of critical thought, you're building case analysis, you're building ideas as to how you should navigate the markets and stuff like that. And then it can also turn into a passion where you're passionate about figuring out the best way for you to trade and navigate the markets. But then once you learn, that passion will drive you to go through, will pull you through all of the down moments and the valleys of trading, where, like, you feel like you're never going to make it, you feel like you're never going to get there, you feel like you're never going to be profitable. Um, but once you start realizing, okay, like what you're doing wrong technically, what you're doing wrong psychologically, what you're doing wrong mentally, you can't then just take that, you can't keep that same level of passion. You can't move off of that same level of passion. It's more maybe like a flamethrower at first, your level of passion in the hobby of trading, but then eventually it has to become like a lighter, a very focused, or like a laser beam. It has to become a very focused, powerful, and precise, um, mindset and way of movement in the financial markets, regardless of what you're trading. Um, and then right under that is adrenaline. Now, this is terrible, absolutely terrible. Trading can become a drug, just like how gambling can. Um, a lot of people's reason for trading is because they don't. Trading is a very adrenaline inducing activity, in the sense of you can make money in seconds and you can also lose money in seconds, and due to that, um, it can spike different levels of feeling and emotion in your body that you wouldn't get elsewhere. It's like the love drug. The first time you feel love, you never want to let it go, because there's not many things that can equate to that same feeling and give you the same outcome. So I used to be like, or sometimes I am like this. I feel bored, or I feel unsuccessful, because I don't feel that adrenaline rush going on throughout my body. And that adrenaline rush does come from trading, where if you have a banger trade, a great trade, like I remember I had a really good trade maybe like a week and a half ago, a great, amazing trade. And all I was thinking about was, why do I feel so alive? Prior to that, I was feeling like sleepy, a little bit tired. But after I got in the trade and the trade went amazing and I exited, I just had to sit there and take a few deep breaths, just because it was the adrenaline, that was the feelings that were rushing through my body and through my brain were so heightened. I felt so aware. Um I felt so just lively, that I had to calm myself down to be able to relate to whatever was going on around me in the real world. Um so yeah. Um yeah, I think adrenaline is a bad thing, a bad reason for you to trade. Now, some people just need to do it and go ahead, trade at your own risk. But don't be surprised if you just are losing money because you're getting into trades that you shouldn't be in, or trades that aren't really there, just to scratch that itch of needing an adrenaline rush. And then last but not least, we have self discipline. So, self discipline, in my opinion, is not usually a reason that people start to trade. People don't look at trading like, okay, I want to build my self discipline, so I'm going to go trade. No, they'll usually maybe sign up for a marathon and train for that or something like that. But With self discipline, in my opinion, after you learn what it may take for you to become profitable trading, self discipline becomes something that you admire and something that you strive for in all areas of life. Now, as where the saying, like, if how you do one thing is how you do everything. If you aren't disciplined in your outside life, and if you aren't in control of yourself and a master of yourself to a certain degree in your outside life, it's going to be very hard for you to switch that on when it's time for you to trade. It's going to be very hard for you to turn that switch on when it's time for you to trade. You're going to be just as erratic, you're going to be just as undisciplined, and you're going to be just as unorganized in the market when it comes to your decision making if you're like that outside of trading. If you're easily influenced emotionally, then you will bring that into trading. If you're easily influenced in the way of you can't control how much you eat, or you can't control how much you sleep, or you can't keep your room clean, or can't maintain a clean room, or you can't maintain a clean car. If whenever somebody says something to you, it gets you in a mental or emotional slump where you're not able to control you're not able to control the decisions that you make from what was ever said. That all of those things will be brought into trading in the sense of, like, something happens that doesn't go your way, you will then react. It'll be like a snowball effect. And it goes the opposite way too. Whereas if in trading you don't perform well, you could be tempted to act in a mindless behavior type of way, where once, say, you have a bad trade, or say you didn't follow your plan, you'll feel unsuccessful and you feel not worthy of success. So then outside of trading, maybe you may go splurge and spend a bunch of money on something you don't need. Or you may go and I don't know, anything that's just bad for you. Like, you may just go indulge in hedonistic activity that could hinder your progress as a person, or can set you back for when you're back in that clear state of mind. You're like, you're regretting what you did right after you lost a trade. So it's very important to try to be balanced within yourself at all times, which is very unbalanced in my opinion, because a lot of people, they compose themselves for a little bit of time and then they wild out for a little while. They start wilding for a little while. But as traders, it's our goal to walk the line between discipline and regret, and just toe that razor's edge, and just walk that razor's edge. Is very thin. And just walk between discipline and regret, and that's the path for you to go down. You can indulge in things that you enjoy doing, but don't do it to the point where it takes you away from the things that you should be doing. You should do the things that you should be doing, but then don't be so rigid with yourself to the point where one day you just snap and you break and you totally fall apart, and then you can't even maintain a healthy mindset for that day, or you fall apart for maybe a week after a previous week of following your trading plan and your life plan. So yeah, I think that self-discipline is a great why. I haven't met anybody that said that's the reason why they started trading, but it does become a reason for you to keep trading, because you do see the self-discipline that it requires for you to keep on trading and be profitable. And I think for some people, they look at that and they're like, okay, well, if I can master myself, if I can change my own actions, I can change the world. Or if I can control my own actions and my own even desires, if I can control what I want to do, I said that correctly, what I want to do, then like the world is mine. Like at that point, like you've escaped the matrix, quite honestly. So those are like some of the reasons why, I think why people start to trade. Just had two notes to the side. Figuring out your why can refocus your mind to think in a goal-oriented frame. Now, I think this is very important because like I was saying at the beginning of this call, when you start trading, a lot of times you're just trading into oblivion. You're trading to trade. You're trading trying to become profitable. You make $100 on $100 account, and that you don't care. You don't care to withdraw $50 or $100 of that to get your investment back. You just want to turn that $100 account into $1 million account. You think that you're going to just be profitable forever. It's important to set goals and have numbers in your mind as to what you're trying to reach and what actions will get you there. Now, if you know that if you just want to trade into oblivion, it's more likely that you're going to make mistakes on a day-to-day basis that you could have avoided simply because you know that you're just going to trade again tomorrow. And you know that there's no really goal that you have for yourself by a certain point, or not by a certain point. There's no really goal that you have for yourself concerning trading that you making a bad decision, whether that's taking a FOMO trade, revenge trading, over trading, that you would miss out on. So I think that it prevents you from doing those things, over trading, revenge trading, and idolizing success in the form of financial performance. Whereas there are people that will make $500, $5,000 on their account and not withdraw a penny. You have to withdraw your profits. You have to pay yourself because then it becomes real. If you're just going to trade and you're just going to trade forever and you never think that you're going to withdraw and you view withdrawing as a step back, which is something that I used to do, you're never going to reach the point that you want to reach because you're just idolizing that infinity number. You're never going to be satisfied. You're never not satisfied. Yeah, you're never going to be satisfied with the profits that you're making at the current stage that you're at. So I think that it's very important to identify a goal, whether your goal is, okay, I want to trade and I want to be able to make $100 by the end of this year. I want to be able to make $100 at the end of this year. And why is my mouse acting like that? I want to make $100 by the end of, let's say, the end of the month. Let's say by the end of October, you want to make $100. At that point, once you make that your goal, you can, and you have the account size to be able to reach that goal, whether you have a $500 account and you take four 1 to 4 trades four or two two risk reward 1 to 2 risk reward trades that are $50, and you win both trades and you made $100. Okay, you're done for the month. Now you withdraw that $100 and then you go spend it on, say, some Dippin' Dots or some ice cream or a camera to be able to make new videos. Like, that will be able to help you stay grounded in what trading is doing for your life. Now you have something tangible from the markets that you were able to do, that you're able to get or attain from the skill set that you've learned, versus just trading forever and ever and ever. And then whenever you lose an account or whenever you lose a trade, you then feel like you're not successful. No, it's important to have goals with trading, things that you want to be able to do with the account. What's the reason for the account existing in the first place? What's your reasoning for depositing that money in the first place? And make sure those goals are attainable, especially when you start out. And then two, like, many of us have different reasons for trading. Many of us have a mix of these reasons to varying different levels of percentages equaling 100%. Whereas for some people, it might be 90% financial independence and 3% adrenaline, and then 7% challenge and personal growth. Whereas for somebody else, maybe it might be 50% of wealth building, 30% of passive income, 10% of freedom and flexibility, and then the other 10% is a hobby and passion for you. So I'll say that it's important to identify what those reasons are. I think that the way, like, I can't just say that and not give you maybe a way as to how to identify those reasons, but think about what you want to be able, what do you plan, or what do you idealize you being able to purchase with your trading profits? That usually is your reason why for trading. That's it. Now, if you envision yourself being able to buy lunch every now and then with your trading profits, then your why is more in the form of, maybe financial independence. You want to be able, or an alternative income source. That would probably be an alternative income source type of why for trading, where you would be looking to just be able to make a little bit of extra money on top to be able to go take you and your girlfriend out, or you or your wife out, you or your kids out, you and your friend out for lunch every now and then, and you just put it on your tab. Now, if you envision yourself being able to pay for your younger siblings' college tuition, that's more wealth building. That's more financial independence. That's more, that's more like that. That can be alternative income source, but it'll be more financial independence, or financial power. That could be another reason too as to what is your why for trading. Financial power. But yeah, if you envision things like that, you envision being able to, maybe buy your parents a house, or maybe be able to pay off your parents' student debt or a student loan debt. If you envision being able to be able to have, say, like 12 months of an emergency fund saved up for you, then that is a reason that you can trade, or that you are trading, um, and that falls under financial independence. Um, but yeah, I try to think about what you envision doing with the profits that you desire to make in the markets. That is something that I do a lot. I do a lot of idealization, when it comes to, like, what is my why, but in the form of what do I actually think about me being able to do from trading profits. And then you also have to ask yourself, like, is trading the only way that you can achieve this? Now, like I was saying, you have those 8 hours at your job if you work a 9 to 5. Many people that watch this are probably even younger, so you probably aren't working that you aren't probably aren't working 40 hours a week. But let's say you're working 40 hours a week. I think it was what, like 168 hours in a week, but let's break it down by day. 24 hours in a day, 8 hours at work. That leaves you 16 hours. You sleep for another 8 hours. That's another 8 hours. That's the last 8 hours you have to be able to do something. Whether that's, like getting up, showering, getting ready, eating food, this and that. And it's also important to make sure that you're not wasting time doing those activities to where those are the only things you do when you're not working. So if you leave work and then you're say it takes you an hour to get ready for work, that's 1 hour gone. If it takes you 30 minutes to pick out what outfit you're going to wear, that's 30 minutes gone. If it takes you 2 hours to eat food when it really only takes 15, 20 minutes max to eat a meal, let's say you're not at like a dinner or you're not at like a gala or something having a conversation with somebody, then you shouldn't be spending more than 30 minutes max eating food. Um, Otherwise, you're just going to be wasting time. So, yeah, I would say, like, if trading's the only way that can get you there, great. But I don't think that's true. I think that, if you trade 2, 3, 4 hours a day, I think max, if you actually are on the market trying to trade 4 hours a day, that's a quite a long time. Anything above 3 hours, in my opinion, is a bit lengthy. But as far as you being open, like that window of time for you to be open to taking a trade, now analyze as long as you need to, but analysis gets quicker and it gets smoother as time goes on and you have more experience in the market. But um, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, but yeah. So if there's something else that you can do that can make you more income, that can bring you closer to that goal that you have, or that idealization of what you have, of what you would like to be able to do with the profits that you make from the market, or profits that you make just from being an entrepreneur or running your own business, whether that's drop shipping, whether that's YouTube, whether that's Amazon FBA, whether that's I don't know, like buying clothes online and selling them in person. I don't know, like whatever you want to do, e-commerce. Yeah, like you can do all those things, and you can set up all those things with one of those extra hours that you have after your job, and that will set you up for success. Um, so yeah, today, we're just talking about what is your why. Um, please let me know, like, for when I post this on the YouTube, let me know in the comments what your why is. Um, Let me know what your why is and what you envision yourself being able to do with the trading profits that you have, because this can be really the first step on you, reframing your mind to be able to think in a goal oriented frame and look at things as achievable goals versus you just being forever profitable, which is not achievable, um, for the for per perpetually profitable. Like, that's not gonna happen. You're gonna lose trades sometimes. Um, it's all about sticking to your plan. So thank you guys, for watching. Please join the Discord down below, in the description. And I'll see you guys later this week.